What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ryan Pineda Show, where we talk all things money, real estate, and entrepreneurship. And in today's episode, I'm going to tell you exactly what I would do if I only had $1,000 to invest. So before I made this video, I wanted to do some research to see what is common for people to have saved up. We know that as people get older, they typically grow more wealthy. So I did a Google search and found an article by Business Insider. It details exactly what people's net worths are by age. And the majority of people watching YouTube are under the age of 35. And if you look at the average net worth, it's $76,000. Now, if you're sitting here watching and thinking that, man, I'm not even close to that, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I'm trying to pay off all my debt, you're not alone. I think the 76,000 is definitely skewed by the people who are ultra wealthy. I do not think that represents what people really are at. And that's why they include the median as well. To me, the median is better to look at because it's not gonna be skewed by those high multimillionaires. It's gonna give a better representation of where people really are at. And the median is only $11,000. So for everyone who's under 35, the middle point of where people are at is $11,000 in net worth. And that's actually what I expected. I actually think most people have a negative net worth. They have credit card debt, they've got student loan debt, they don't have a lot of cash saved up, so it makes it tough. So one thing I like to tell people is, if you even have a positive net worth, you're doing good things. Yay! Do not be discouraged when you see a 25-year-old who's a millionaire. They are the anomaly. They're not the normal. And if they're on YouTube, they may not even be real. But regardless of that, I just want to tell you that if you have $1,000 to invest, it doesn't matter whether you have a positive net worth, whether you have a negative net worth, you can invest it the same type of way. If you're a Dave Ramsey fan, he might say, hey, go pay down all your credit card debt with that $1,000. Don't do anything else.
Don't even think about investing.
And if you follow me long enough, you know that I'm not a big Dave Ramsey fan. I don't agree with many things he says. So if I had $1,000, I wouldn't do anything close to what Dave Ramsey tells me. And in fact, what I'm gonna tell you is probably not what you're expecting. So first, let's look at what people would usually look to do. First option would be to invest in the stock market. Robinhood has made investing in stocks super simple for anyone, regardless of how much money you have. And let's say you throw that $1,000 in the stock market. What is a great return for you to get? Well, many people would be happy with an 8% return. I'm not gonna talk about all these people saying you can get rich trading options. I'm sure there are people who do it, but once again, I think they're the anomaly. But let's just say you get an 8% return, which many investors would be happy with. That $1,000 by the end of the year is only gonna make you $80. I don't know about you, but $80 doesn't get me excited. That's not gonna change my life. And sure, we can talk about compounding interest and all that stuff, but I'm trying to get out of this quick. I'm trying to build my net worth fast. That ain't what I would do. I'm not your typical investor. I don't want to play the long game. I want to become rich as fast as possible and do it in a way where I can add value with sweat equity. What I mean by that is I wanna make my $1,000 work for me. If I go put $1,000 in the stock market, I can't really add any value to it. It's just whatever stock I picked, whatever company I picked, they're the ones that are gonna determine how well it does. All I can do is research. But if I can actually put my $1,000 to work and I can personally impact it, it's gonna have a greater result. And that's what I'm gonna get into here in a sec. And that leads me to my second option, which people are probably thinking what I'm going to suggest, and I'm gonna talk about it briefly, but it's not what I'm gonna tell you to do, and that is real estate. If you have $1,000, you are not gonna qualify for a traditional loan. If you're a vet and you can get a no money down VA loan, sure, that's a great way to go. But for most people, they will not be able to get a loan for real estate. They just don't have a big enough down payment. You can absolutely wholesale and make money quick. I totally believe in that. You can definitely go flip properties with other people's money and make money doing that as well. But many people watching this do not wanna do that. They don't wanna flip, they don't wanna wholesale, and I'm here to tell you, doing that stuff is hard. A lot of people may make you think wholesaling is very easy. You might watch me and my business and say, well, man, he makes it look easy, so it must be easy. That's not the case, it's very tough. In this video, I'm gonna assume that you do not want to wholesale or flip real estate. I'm also gonna assume you cannot buy a house normally because you only have $1,000, the down payment's not big enough. So if you can't trade stocks and you can't buy real estate, what exactly are you supposed to do? Well, I'll tell you, there's two things I would do if I only had $1,000. The very first one is I would get a side hustle. A side hustle is how you're gonna build $1,000 up more than any other thing you can do. It's way better than opening up a Robinhood account, and it's gonna help you grow that $1,000 the fastest way possible if you don't wanna flip or wholesale. So let's take, for example, my couch flipping side hustle. If you haven't seen it, I did a video on couch flipping. You can find it in the description below. And in that video, I talked about how I was making $8,000 a month net profit flipping couches. Crazy to believe, but if you want to know exactly how I did it, go watch the video. I'm not going to explain the logistics of it in this video. But to illustrate the example, if I had $1,000, I know that I can go buy about 5 to 6 couches with that money. Let's just say I buy 5 good couches at $200 a piece. I clean them up, I relist them, I sell them all for $400 a piece. I did that many times flipping couches. To sell 5 couches would probably take me 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, I've now turned my $1,000 into $2,000. Well, now that I've got $2,000, I can start buying more couches. Let's say I buy 10 couches, or even 5 again, it doesn't really matter. Point is, your money is gonna start to multiply really fast with a side hustle. In 1 month, you could easily take that $1,000 and make it $4,000. Easily. I am not kidding you when I tell you flipping couches is super easy. All you gotta do is hustle a little bit and it will happen. Do it! So if I have $1,000 and in 1 month, I turned it into $4,000, I just got a 400% return in 1 month. When you average that out over a year, you're talking about a 4,800% return.
A 4,800% return.
I don't know about you, but there's not many investments that can get me that type of return. So that's why I say when you have an amount of money like $1,000, you need to add sweat equity with it to get the best return. The sweat equity would be you finding the deals, cleaning them up, delivering them, or even not delivering them. You could still make money not delivering. And that's just one example of a side hustle. You can do so many other side hustles. Maybe your thing is trading cards. Maybe it's Pokemon cards. They are really big right now. You could definitely flip Pokemon cards with $1,000 and make great money. If you're artsy or you like renovations and stuff, you can go buy beat up dressers or old pieces of furniture that people just don't even want. Go sand them down, go paint them, make them look really nice, make a nice profit that way. Ironically, before we started flipping couches, my wife and I did that on some dressers. We made money, but we found out it was really time consuming and not worth it. It was easier for me to just go flip other stuff. But it's so easy to flip anything nowadays. You could flip watches, cell phones, whatever. And it can be found anywhere. It can be on eBay, Craigslist, OfferUp. There's so many different things that people are selling. They don't care what they get for them. They just want to get rid of them. You can clean them up or just buy them undervalued and resell them in the right place. A lot of people go to garage sales, buy little knickknacks for $5, go resell them on eBay for $25. Happens all the time. It's just a matter of, are you willing to go put in the work? So with $1,000, I do not see a better way to grow your wealth than side hustles. Now, I don't think side hustles are the only thing you should be doing. I also think you need to be doing a second thing. Now, the second thing I'm about to tell you is equally important. You've probably heard it a million times, but I would be investing in your education as well. Now, I'm not saying you need to go join big coaching programs like mine or anybody else's. What you can do is start buying books. You can buy online courses. You can buy a whole bunch of other things to really build up your knowledge. Think about it. I would have never been able to flip houses if I didn't have the knowledge on how to do it. I had to buy books, I had to listen to podcasts, I hired mentors and coaches. I'm only where I'm at today because I learned how to do it from other people. Very few of my ideas are original. I've learned them from other people. I figured out what worked, what didn't work, what I liked, what I didn't like, and I've made it my own. So you're gonna have to invest in your education if you really wanna push forward in the long haul. And I talk about this a lot with my students in thinking about the short term and the long term. You gotta have both in balance. You can't be leaning too far one way or the other. Here's what I mean. Let's say you're only thinking about the short term, which is, hey, I gotta do my side hustles, I gotta make money, that's all I'm focused on. Well, great, you're doing that, but you're not thinking about the long term at all. And so what happens is you just grind. You don't really ever grow because you're constantly just working, and not learning anything new. But let's say you have the other person, which I've seen as well. They only focus on the long term. They want to learn. They want to study real estate. They want to study how to do a side hustle and just get better and get smarter. That's great, but if you don't ever work on the actual things that make you money, you don't make money. You're not gonna survive only thinking about the long term. You've gotta create an income now somehow.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
So it's not good to always be long-term thinking. Those are the analysis paralysis people.
Do it!
They're long-term thinkers. They wanna analyze and just constantly learn. That's not good. But it's also not good to just only be a short-term thinker as well. You gotta have balance. And so yes, when you have $1,000, you are gonna probably grind and think short-term more so, but you gotta mix in some long-term too. Now, if you get to a level where I'm at, I'm more so thinking long-term and less short-term. I'm thinking about how can I improve my skills? What does the long-term vision look like? How do I build towards that? What do I need to do today to hit this long-term goal? Because my short-term income is already taken care of. I've already created businesses that make me money and sustain me. I've saved up money. I've got passive income. I don't necessarily need to focus on this short-term on how to make a buck today. So I can focus now long-term and say, hey, here's what I gotta do to get to where I wanna go in the future. Me making this YouTube video is a perfect example of a long-term deal. This video is probably not gonna make me a lot of money. There's definitely better short-term uses of my time that I can make more money with. But I think in the long term, making videos like this will help push my YouTube channel further, and that will make me a lot of money, help me out in a lot of different ways, open many doors, and hopefully help you guys out as well. But it's a long-term thing. I'm sacrificing the short term to create this video for the long term. So you gotta have that balance with short term and long term, depending on where you're at in life. So to wrap this up, obviously I wouldn't invest in stocks. You're not gonna qualify for traditional real estate. I think a side hustle is the way to go. You can definitely find something you're good at, that you enjoy, and turn that $1,000 into a lot more than just investing. And then I think you also need to invest in your education. Watching these YouTube videos is great. You're gonna grow, invest in some books, invest in some courses. Just keep growing that knowledge, because eventually, if you get the right knowledge and you start taking the right steps towards your long-term vision, you're not gonna have to do the side hustles anymore. You're gonna have a full-on career doing something that makes you a lot of money. Anyways, I hope you appreciated this video. If you did, do me a big favor, hit the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, go follow me on all the socials, and until next time, take care.